Sun came up. It's a good thing. Obviously a tough one at Penn State. We did a lot of really good things in that game. My hat's off to Penn State. They played great. Maybe the best environment I've been in the Big Ten. My ears were still ringing the next day. By far and away the loudest building in the Big Ten. They should play all their games there. It was terrific atmosphere. But they never quit. We did just about everything wrong that we could do wrong in the last 3 minutes. And you know, when you're not mentally sharp, which we weren't, you know, those things catch up to you. So again, we haven't watched 1 second of the film. We haven't talked about it. It's on to Iowa. Everybody's pretty well aware of what mistakes that were made. We got back after it yesterday, had one of the most intense practices we've had. You know, as I say, it was a Brad Underwood practice. And we've got to get back to Garden. We've got to get back to playing with some tenacity. We've got to quit fouling. We've got a great Iowa team coming off a great win. You know, they have the outstanding freshman in Owen Freeman, playing great. Sanford's playing at a very high level. You know, Fran probably does as good a job as developing guys as anybody in the country on the offensive side. You know, Perkins has turned into a pro. So very good Iowa team. They're going to mix up their defenses, they'll press, play zone, do what they always do, and offensively, get two teams playing at a really high level on that end, and you know, we've got to get back to Garden on the other end.
Coach, the France teams always seem to be able to put points on the board. But is there something unique about their system offensively that you have to prepare for?
They do an unbelievable job of developing guys. You know, I always go back to the Twins. I mean, they had Western Illinois offers, and now they're both in the NBA. You know, Luka was a backup on his AAU team, multiple-time All-American. You know, they run motion. They have great freedom on the offensive end. He surrounds them with shooters. You know, you know, they take and make hard shots. They do that as well as anybody in the league. Whether it's Dix, whether it's Perkins, you know, they've got guys off the bench. Their bigs always shoot it. They just do a great job with guys on that end of the court. They play fast. They're high possessions. You know, they're a top 10 or 11 team, I think, offensively. So, you know, it should be an exciting game from that side of things.
I guess, how does Coach, do you decide that maybe game film is not worth maybe watching in the way?
We do. It wasn't. We can talk about the physical mistakes we made, or, you know, I mean, Coleman's made free throws all year. Obviously, he knows he shouldn't have fouled. We took a quick shot. All those things are identifiable. Those aren't physical. You know, Terrence shouldn't have dribbled against the press. We got 3 guys open. You know, those things are mental mistakes. And when your mentals, you know, when you're not maybe as I don't know, dialed in as you need to be, we missed a lot of free throws. We've been shooting the cover off free throws. You know, there was just, you know, there was no need, you know, and I was more disappointed, and we just got to stop on the first possession, and they scored 8 straight. You know, and it's just, it's our fight on the defensive end, and Penn State's very talented offensively. We knew that, but I thought we did a great job on ace. You know, we're not even close to Garden. Hicks on the last shot, and Coleman has to recover. You know, just mental breakdowns, and those are things that You know, we can look at it in film all we want. We can talk about it all we want. We got to solve them on the court.
Talk about Brad Underwood practice. What are the qualities or staples of that particular description?
That's why you haven't been in one. You won't be in one because it was highly competitive, and I was ready to stay till 11 o'clock if we needed to be there till 11 o'clock. I was getting back to coaching and demanding and holding guys accountable, and we'll see.
What do you need from Quincy to get back to who he was a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I need to play more. Quincy's a really good player, and you know, Quincy's doing fine. He was one of our best players yesterday in practice. And he's got some toughness and fight, and you know, he's like anybody else. He's going to make a few mistakes, but he can make up with his athleticism, and you know, we got to get him back rebounding. You know, it was very painful the other night. Ty's fouls. Ty had 5 offensive rebounds. You know, he was the 15-minute guy. You know, played 15 minutes. And had 5 offensive rebounds, 7 rebounds. He was dominating the game. And we got to have him on the court more. He's another one. We need him and Quincy.
You mentioned, I guess, Tuesday, just the things differently you did against Maryland, maybe because of that matchup defensively that you didn't necessarily like. Do you consider changing, you know, maybe something about your
all the time? But again, you've got to have a team that mentally can handle change. You don't just change because you think schematically it's great. You know, we're trying to become really good at what we do and not throw a lot out there. You got to have guys that can mentally handle change. And you know, we made some subtle changes yesterday, but again, you've got to be able to you know, we're not going to scrap what we do. You know, we've been doing it all year, and most importantly, it was really good earlier in the year. So it's a having the ability to sustain and be able to do it. I mean, we're getting an unbelievable defense from Terrence Shannon. The job he did on Ace was incredible, and but you know, right now, I mean, we gave up 4 back cut layups. That's all we talked about. That's all Penn State does: shoot threes and back cut. And their rule is they see the back of your head, they cut. And you know, we gave up 4 of them. We gave up 3 out of bounds. We haven't given up 3 baskets on out of bounds plays that we covered. There's no substitute. That baseline outs are just being physical and not getting knocked off and not getting screened. And we haven't done that all year. And again, there's a mental toughness that has to come with that. And it's 1 or 2 guys. And that's got to stop. Or I got to stop playing. Those things.
What do you think of the minutes Dre and Monty were able to provide you off the bench on Wednesday?
Yeah, probably should have played them more. Should have played more. They've earned the right. Draven has been a very, very consistent worker throughout. He's been playing hard. He hasn't shot the ball great yet. We see it every day in practice, but he made a great drive. And then defensively, he's just, you know, he's got Trent-like characteristics in terms of not getting screened and being athletic and able to recover. You know, Amani's a stump. You know, he's got really strong lower base. He doesn't get backed up. He makes tough, hard-nosed plays. He had great play in the first half, and you know, I love that aspect of it. And he's just starting to kind of get back from his injury and being out a month. And but I thought both those guys were great.
Obviously, you're very familiar with Owen Freeman, a kid from the state of Illinois. Are you surprised at all by the freshman season that he's having? And has there been a better freshman big man in the conference?
I would probably think Owen and maybe Christie at Minnesota, probably the top 2 freshmen. Yeah, he's been spectacular. He's big, strong. He's a pro. I mean, he's a pro. It's what they look like. And I mean, You know, he's can handle it. He puts it on the floor. He's had a great year, and you know, he's continued to improve throughout what freshmen do. Continue to improve throughout the season.
You mentioned it in your opening, but not being in their huddle or not being in their practices, what are you seeing that Fran's able to do with somebody like Tony Perkins that over a 4-year period he's able to be what he is now?
Yeah, it's a tribute to the kid. I mean, he just continues to work and get better. I mean, there was a kid who was a wing player that he's moved to the point, and you know, he's an efficient shooter. He's a strong ball handler. He's a really good decision maker. He's an effective defender. You know, he's got God's gifts. I mean, size and strength and athleticism, and just now you put the mental with what he's done. You know, obviously making his game better. You know, you got one of the outstanding players, and again, you know, Fran does a great job of you know, whether it was Luka and changing his body and getting him to play, or you know, he's always had those, you know, the Weiss camps and, you know, those guys who were you know, just got better and just continued to grow, and big wings who could shoot, and Sanford said that this year, and so, you know, his guys play with great confidence on the offensive end, and they mix up their defenses, and they've gotten better.
Did the timeline of like maybe when Amani was dealing with the injury and like the chunk he missed, what kind of impact did that have on a freshman's development, just to maybe miss time this year?
Yeah, well, anytime a freshman misses development, especially when you're getting, you know, he was on the cusp of. We played him early, you know, and that's okay. Those are opportunities to get your feet wet, but you know, real game stuff, and you got to go through some of the trials and tribulations of what I call real games, you know, that are like opponents and battles, and it's one thing to do it in practice, it's another thing to do it in games and carry scouting report over and do it in front of fans and hostile environments, and so it was never easy for him. That's hard. He's a very cerebral kid. You know, I think he's a guy that's ultra competitive. He's got a nasty side to him, which our team needs, and I love. And you know, so it's nice to get that back, but it was unfortunate because he was in a position to really start helping us. He played multiple spots, the 4 and the 5, and but I like the fact we can have him back as we head into March.
Marcus has mentioned that this is the last ride for a lot of guys in that locker room, and that there is no next year. Do you hope that urgency comes through defensively, and particularly in terms of the grit and what you need to show?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. You know, it's you want to be your best. You want to be healthy. You want to be tough, and you want to be together as you move forward in this time of year. And you hope that those guys are ready to fight. It's a long season. It's a long grind. You're not going to be your best every single night. You can look around, and there was a lot of upsets this week. There's a lot of upsets every night. That's college basketball. I don't think we have a top tier anymore in college basketball. I think those are all done, and I think NILs and the transfer portals ruined that. I think it's leveled everything out. And but you hope that your guys with experience and age, and I know our guys in that locker room, what they stand for, and you know, so it's getting to be that time, and now we got to find that dial, and we got to get it amped up on the defensive side, and our sustainability, our toughness, our fight, our nasty has to start coming out.
I keep going back to what you said after the game, which is our mentality is wrong. And so from that perspective, is the Penn State loss maybe the best thing that could have happened, at least from your seat? Because
from mine, it's freaking great.
I mean, it would seem like you could say to guys, okay, we did it your way, now we're going to do it mine.
We lost a game at Texas A&M Corpus Christi when I was at Stephen F. Austin, and I was blessed. It was my only loss. And we had been not great for a couple of weeks, and I knew it was coming. My gut was churning. I knew it was coming. And man, there's nothing like a loss like that to just grind on people and get refocused. And you know, we've gone along. Everything's pretty easy. Our offense has been, you know, pretty good and pretty efficient. And now it's you know, you can talk all you want. That's why there was no more talk. There was no more film. We didn't need that. No. It's get back and smash bodies and hit bodies and compete and fight and, you know, claw and have to have some grit to get things right. And it's not one practice. It's not two practices. It's a group that understands that. So yeah, you cannot get complacent. That's for sure.
These will be our last two joint.
Is amping up that toughness, that nastiness, is that something you take the reins on, or do you look to something?
If they can't, then I do.
How's that been?
If they can't, I do. That's why it was my practice yesterday, and I'm going to help them get back so that they understand what it is, because no one wants. It can't just be me wanting to win. I can't want it more than they do, and they have to want to. They have to want to be that, and we've got that locker.
I really had a question along the same lines, and that's, you know, does the veterans on this team, having the veterans, does that help something like a loss like that not linger quite as much? Are they more able to, you know, put it in the rearview mirror?
I hope so. We'll find out. I mean, you know, it's the next night in the Big Ten, and you know, I hope that's the case. I hope that's where this team's at, but you know, the other team's going to show up and they're going to fight too, and you know, we've just got to have some stick-to-itiveness and some tenacity, and you know, continue to get right by March.